Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. This one's actually very interesting because it's basically true. It says, within the XRP community, a recent wave of speculation has suggested that Google may also be running an XRP Ledger node, basically validating transactions on the blockchain. These claims can be traced back to Ido Farina, the CEO of Alpha Lions Academy and manager of the Alpha Husky Club, an NFT project on the XRP blockchain. In a recent post, Farina presented a screenshot detailing a register of computers operating Ledger nodes containing the XRP Ledger versions and IP addresses. Here's the tweet for it right here. I'm also surprised that this wasn't larger news because it's basically true. To increase the size of these images right here, and also for those of you not looking at the screen, the XRP Ledger is incredibly transparent. You can basically see anything that's going on, where money is going, the coin burn, etc., etc. You can look at the IP address right here from one of the accounts who is running a full node on the XRP Ledger, thus the screenshot. And then on the second image, you can see that these are from Google, from Google, from Google. And it is the exact same IP address as the one that is registered on different websites. iPregistry, DBIP, and IP info. Almost said IPinfo, but I realized that there's the IP letters right there. Are the same exact IP addresses that are running the full node on the XRP Ledger. How do I say this? So basically, we know that there are a lot of major companies who are in the space. A lot of times this news ends up being popular because, not to be rude, but I think a lot of people just see the surface level of what's happening within the cryptocurrency space. Prices to them are the most important. And when they actually hear news, not that we've even gotten this news before, how do I say this? It's abundantly clear that these companies are in the space. A lot of times people assume that Fidelity, BlackRock, Google, Microsoft, Apple, etc. are in the space until we get it in the news. But behind the scenes, these companies have been into crypto since around 2014. That's the constant time frame that we got whenever we heard that a company had been looking into crypto. They've been there for a while. So it's not unsurprising at all. It's probably surprising to people who continuously hate on Ripple and XRP because they're stuck in 2017. But to everyone else, if you've been hearing all the news about all the other banks and institutions who are using XRP and working with Ripple, it seems completely logical that Google would be running a node for one of the largest coins. You kind of have to always hedge your bets. You never simply just put everything. I mean, this is how it works for a company, not necessarily for individuals. But you would simply not only run nodes operating Bitcoin because you don't know how long Bitcoin might be the number one coin or might be at the top. So, of course, you run validators and you start staking for Ether. Like we just had news for those of you who missed that. T-Mobile, the phone company, they're also like staking cryptocurrencies as well. All this stuff is happening in the background. And it's very significant because it's not just about prices. It's also about the movement of these mega companies who are buying up all these coins, who are running validator nodes, who are really in the ecosystem. And then what happens is years later, people go, well, I wish I knew that news. And it's like, well, this is why I have this channel. So you actually understand the significance that all these major companies are in the space. Yeah. So it's all but confirmed. Like the numbers really don't lie as far as like, there's the number, there's the ledger. They're running a full node. We can see that on the screen. And there's the IP address, once again, from different websites, proving that this actually belongs to Google LLC. Yeah, so Google is running at least one that we know of, a full node on the XRP blockchain. That's the Google and XRP news. And yeah, let's move on. In very, very odd news, but I think we all probably saw this coming. And I think the only one who probably didn't was PayPal themselves. The United States Securities and Exchange Commission has issued a subpoena to PayPal over their newly launched stablecoin, the PYUSD. Earlier, I think it was this year. I don't think it was the end of last year. PayPal basically announced, last summer, not this summer, but last year, announced that they were basically like deep diving into the cryptocurrency space. They were going to be integrating and adding cryptocurrencies onto their platform. It basically began with, I believe, Bitcoin for people within the United States to be able to buy Bitcoin and hold it on their platform. I think they announced Ethereum as well. I'm not 100%. It never really makes it into the news anymore because it's simply there on the PayPal website. Then I believe earlier this year, they announced that they were going to, what do you call it? Create their own stablecoin. The idea being is that people realize now that stablecoins can make a lot of money, especially when it comes to people who are trading with them and all that other stuff. And the idea is that in the future, stablecoins will become more popular as people try to have some type of stable value that they're sending around the world. However, I'll crunch it all together. I was going to give you like a whole little history thing. The really weird part is that apparently PayPal did receive a subpoena about their new stablecoin. Now, earlier, and I mean good 2017, 2018, a lot of times when the SEC was going after companies, we were kind of led to believe that these companies randomly, willy-nilly had thrown out something, had tried a new thing, or had done something completely incorrect, had not registered with the SEC, or had simply, fumbled in some sort of way, and that they needed to get in trouble. This was kind of I say this lightly, kind of the propaganda that was thrown out there by the US SEC, that these companies, in essence, almost needed to get in trouble because of something that they had done wrong that could have affected US customers. So my idea is basically, in a nutshell, I find it very hard to believe that PayPal, upon the idea of launching their stablecoin, had no discussions with the SEC. Think of how large PayPal is. Think of what it would mean for them to actually get a subpoena and to get in trouble by the US SEC, who they probably had a multitude of discussions with before even thinking about this. It wasn't a conversation on a Monday, let's launch a stablecoin, and then on Friday it happened. I assume they were in multiple talks with the US SEC, as we've known about regulation since around 2018, 2019, when things really began to rev up. So the idea that the SEC would go after PayPal and issue a subpoena about their stablecoin that's also been out for like a good 9 months now, as opposed to the day that the stablecoin was launched, it's PayPal. It's not someone launching a stablecoin on top of Bitcoin or on top of Tron or some other obscure blockchain. It's PayPal. We all knew about the news. Why did the SEC therefore take so long? Something very weird is happening. And of course, a lot of it has to do with the keeping of the economic strength of the US dollar and making sure that anything that reflects a value of it is regulated in some sort of way and or scrutinized by the US SEC. But this one is a very weird story. Why? I would assume that PayPal in this situation did nothing wrong, because they know they already have to deal with regulators. For those of you who don't remember or weren't here 1,500 years ago, the way that PayPal got started was that they were basically, before Bitcoin, they were trying to be like a digital currency online. And they got shut down immediately by U.S. authorities, basically claiming, hey, you're printing digital U.S. dollars. You can't do that. It's illegal. They became hyper regulated. They are regulated all around the world. So I doubt that a hyper-regulated company who is dealing in billions and trillions of dollars every single year with payment flows would have launched a stablecoin without going to the US SEC, which means that the SEC knew that this was going to be a thing, and now the SEC, it's all very, very odd. On the 2nd of November, PayPal Holdings announced that it had received a subpoena from the enforcement arm of the US SEC tied to the US dollar stablecoin, according to a report from Reuters. The company launched PYUSD, in August, basically summer, becoming the first major traditional finance firm to float a stablecoin with promises to offer new use cases and projections, blah, 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 blah. They said, and I quote, on the 1st of November, we received a subpoena from the US SEC Division of Enforcement relating to the PayPal USD stablecoin. The subpoena requests the production of documents. We are cooperating with the SEC in connection with this request, A section of the firm's quarterly earnings read. This was also quite popular news as it's PayPal. It has to do with the SEC. It has to do with a coin, a digital currency. I won't say cryptocurrency because it definitely is not decentralized in any sort of way. But this made very widespread news in the space because it's incredibly bizarre. What the SEC is continuing to do to make sure that they have relative control over the space. And I'm sure they are ecstatic, the SEC, that people continue to make stable coins because that's something that they can definitely get under their control, feeling like they're actually worth something at that point and that they, all of this is not for naught. But yeah, so PayPal has received a subpoena about the stable coin. Not exactly sure what it's supposed to do or what's going to end up happening. If this ends up making more groundbreaking news, I'm pretty sure that we're going to hear about it over the next couple of weeks, but incredibly bizarre. All of it is very, very, why? I'm not going to repeat myself, but it's more of a why? Why does the SEC continue to do this? Why is it always a months or years down the line saying that you did something? You know that PayPal was creating a stablecoin. I'm sure they had to go through the SEC, as every other company has had to do so for the last couple of years. Anyway, that's the PayPal and SEC news, because they're always in the freaking news. And yeah, let's move on. Also sure, why not? Let's just everyone do the exact same thing at the exact same time. Crypto exchange Kraken is apparently considering Polygon, Matter Labs, and the Nil Foundation to build a new Layer 2 scaling solution. CoinDesk learned through sources familiar with the matter. Earlier this year, I'm pretty sure it was this year, Coinbase announced that they were going to be creating their own chain, similar to Binance. Binance has the Binance Smart Chain. And it's basically, in essence, they say that it wasn't, but that was to not anger the community. It's meant to be like a replacement for Ethereum. If you can have your own chain and basically do the exact same things that are happening on top of Ethereum, therefore people are going to use them. And the Binance Smart Chain became relatively popular. We don't hear about it so much anymore as the market isn't as high as it was. But a lot of people were issuing NFTs and brand new coins on top of them. And because Binance is the #1 cryptocurrency exchange, Coinbase is always trying to catch up in some sort of way. So Coinbase created Base, terrible name, which is basically another chain that they own that they say is a layer 2 scaling solution or is meant to be a complement to Ethereum in some sort of way, which is also a lie. It's meant to be the chain that I don't assume at any point if the Base chain started doing better than Ethereum that they would pull the plug and go, no, we can't harm Ethereum. They want their own money. They're looking for another stream of revenue. And the idea is that when they launched it, this is why we had so much news about it, is that they were trying to get people to use it. You have to put it into the news to make sure that people know that it's there and tell them exactly how much stronger, quicker, faster, and better it is than all the other chains out there and so much better than Binance. And therefore, use this one instead. This is why we kept on getting news about the companies who were using it. But a lot of times also behind the scenes, all the time, Coinbase created this because they knew that they had other companies and other subsidiaries who work with them around the world who were also planning, or rather had to build on top of it. If this, if we're all working together in the same circle, therefore we all have to build on top of the same chain to be able to have the news to say, look how many projects we have. Look how popular our chain is. Look how awesome and all these other things are. And since then, we haven't really heard a lot about Base or Coinbase's other chain simply because it was never going to actually be that popular because no one needs it. No one's asking for it. All the chains that we already have right now are perfectly fine. However, there are always these corporation coins that end up popping up, Binance's Smart Chain also being one of them, as these other chains that are created by companies to simply say, oh, we need more scaling in the crypto space. Let me create this. No, it's another revenue stream for the company to have other people build stuff on top of it to be able to go on CNBC and tell other people, look, we created this chain. There's clearly a demand. We're amazing. We're awesome. Look how much money that we have. So now Kraken is considering the exact same thing. The reason why this made it into the news is because they're considering building on top of Polygon, Matter Labs, and Nil Foundation, who they're also talking to, Polygon being the cream de la cream as far as when you look up this news. Polygon is usually the only one in the thing because Polygon is Polygon. Polygon is the actual scaling solution that we've been waiting for Ethereum since around 2016, which we still do not have yet on the main chain. And Polygon is incredibly important and popular because, like, I was going to say 90%, but I don't know the exact number of transactions that are running on Polygon that then get validated on top of the Ethereum mainnet. The move would allow Kraken to follow the lead of rival exchange Coinbase, which launched its own base layer 2 network in August. Everything is in August. What's going on? Using technology from Optimism. Coinbase's offering has quickly eaten into market share, not really, demonstrating the potential benefits for exchanges expanding into layer 2. He said, "We're always looking to identify and solve for new industry challenges and opportunities. We don't have anything further to share at this time." It has nothing to do with challenges and opportunities. You just want to make more money. Like I wish companies were more realistic with it, but I think that would also leave a lot of people very sour if we heard from these companies who were like, "We only made like 47 billion last month. Like, we would love if that was 65 billion just because, we want to buy up more real estate and we want to like essentially get richer so that when we go on the news, we can show everyone else exactly how much richer we've become from this new thing that we created that really didn't have a purpose, but now tons of people are actually using it." Yeah, that would seem a little weird if they said that on the news. The company recently posted a job opening for a senior cryptography engineer to work on design and implementations of layer 2 solutions, specifically citing enthusiasm for open source layer 2 technologies such as zero knowledge proofs. And then it goes on to talk about it, yada, yada, yada. Cool, amazing. So, I mean, it's not that they have to do it. It's more that they're going to do it. A lot of these other chains, I will say again, are completely pointless. It has to do with like generating extra revenue as a company, because if that was the case, they would literally just build on top of Polygon. However, they do not own and control Polygon, and they're not getting the transaction fees from it. So as a company, you want to make your own chain, have transactions flow through that, and then you get the 1 or 2 cent per transaction. I mean, sure, why not? This ended up also making relatively popular news, once again, because the name Polygon was constantly in there. No one's really using Coinbase's other chain. I'm sure you can find proof of usage. I'm sure there are other companies who they've been working with for a number of years, who they were in discussions with before they created this chain, who they told, "Can you please use this chain before we actually build it," who are now using it. But as far as like public perception of it, no one in the public is talking about it. No one's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to go home and use Base." It's just not a thing. So yeah, that's the Kraken news. I'm sure I give it February. By February, we will be hearing about the launch of it and or the future launch of it. That is to say, in February, we will hear on February 4th it's launching, and or on February 5th, we will be hearing, hey, we're going to launch it in April. Random time frame, not like it's the Bitcoin halving or anything like that. That's the Kraken news. And yeah, let's move on. In what can only be described as my favorite news story, probably for this video, I dare even say the week, if not the month, because it's just it's complete logic, and I don't know what these people were thinking. The US SEC is, of course, once again in the news because they thrust themselves into the spotlight every single day, making sure that they are omnipresent. The US SEC is apparently facing recruitment challenges and legal uncertainties as it struggles to hire Bitcoin and crypto experts who are actually willing to work with them. I'll give you one gigantic guess. Why would someone not be willing? I mean, besides like the actual ethical reasons of working with the devil, what's another reason why someone would not be able to or want to actually work with the SEC? So, as it stands in many other countries around the world, and I mean, probably a handful, literally like 4, the idea of trying not to be swayed by and or corrupt by something is kind of the generalized idea. So apparently the SEC has a thing. If you are trying to work with them in a specific case or for something, whatever that asset might be, you actually can't own it. So the SEC is having challenges hiring people who are willing to A, not only work with them, but also B, who are cryptocurrency experts who are willing to sell off their cryptocurrency assets that they hold to be able to work with the SEC. Part of the problem there is that, I mean, especially as we mosey on into 2024, 2025, can you imagine getting now I say this like in the most realistic way. Imagine you get an office job with the US SEC. You've been collecting crypto for a number of years. You got, pretty lucky. You got around a good $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of crypto. You've been buying and holding for a while. You decide to sell it. I'm going to work for the SEC, make $120,000 per year. Seems like a really good job. All of a sudden, 2024, 2025 rolls around, and that 50,000 that you had in crypto is now roughly around, would have been 120,000, and you're like, it's still my yearly salary. You look back at the markets, and that money is 625,000, and you're like, okay, and it's just 6 years of pay. It's fine. The coins that you ended up buying actually did extremely well. And their value would now be around 1.8 million. You sit there and you hate yourself because you're like, I'm stuck here working for the US SEC, sitting behind this desk, doing paperwork for however many years of my life when I could have actually just held onto my cryptocurrency and bought a boat and moved away somewhere. This is the problem that the SEC is now facing. The Securities and Exchange Commission, the agency that makes the rules for financial markets but releases no rules and then gets everyone else in trouble, is struggling to hire experts in cryptocurrencies because of a tricky situation. A lot of the qualified people actually own crypto themselves. If you have an expert in cryptocurrencies, it is logical that they would own the actual asset themselves because I'm pretty sure they see the value in it. And over the last couple of years, they've been accumulating. The problem is that the SEC wants them to sell all of their coins so that they're not really biased and or swayed in one direction, depending on what the case might be. Like, imagine if they hire someone and this person owns a lot of XRP. They would, of course, be like, well, I think we should, let the Ripple people win. Why? Because they wore suits today, and suits are very professional. Like, you can't be biased in that thing. From Bitcoin Magazine, they said the SEC is having trouble hiring Bitcoin and crypto experts because of a rule that they say they must sell their assets. And then it has it right there on the little tweet and highlighted over there. Fantastic. The SEC's ethics rules say that owning these digital assets can prevent these experts from working on crypto-related cases to avoid any conflict of interest. Because of this rule, many do not want to sell their cryptocurrencies to work for the SEC. That makes me, remember the video that popped up, like popped up, of Gary Gensler from 2019 when he was working at MIT. For those of you who don't know, Gary Gensler in 2019 used to work for MIT, and he was also a cryptocurrency expert, and he was quite big on Bitcoin and the future of cryptocurrencies. That tells me that he probably owned, now logic here, he probably owned cryptocurrencies with an S, which means that if he became the head of the SEC, he had to sell off all of his crypto. Can you imagine if one of the main reasons why Gary Gensler is so upset is because when he became the head of the SEC in 2020, cryptocurrency prices began to move up? And he now is like out of all the money that he would have made from all the coins that he was holding. So now he has like some really weird, like backwards vendetta. I mean, that's of course all speculation, but that means that Gary Gensler is also not holding any cryptocurrencies. I'd also be upset. I'd be very, very upset seeing how much money people made in 2021 and I could make none of it. And I had to sit behind the desk. The problem is part of a bigger challenge for the SEC. They're trying to keep up with the fast growth of the crypto world. And this is due to a lack of available experts, and private companies often offer better jobs to experts. Yeah, Anyway, this is one of my favorite news stories. I love it. I love the fact that the SEC has kind of cornered themselves into this situation where not only, and I mean ethically, I'm sure so few people actually want to work for imagine dealing in the cryptocurrency space. We basically, and I'll say this in this way, it is highly speculated that a lot of the downward movements for a lot of cryptocurrencies and the wider market, it is speculated, is because of the SEC constantly bombarding companies and telling everyone that every coin's a security, getting everyone in trouble, screaming at the top of their lungs, taking everyone to court. You know, imagine being an expert in the space, but you hold some of the coins that the SEC has gone after. You probably wouldn't like them too much. Like logically, you would probably have like a disdain for like, you know, you don't want to be around them. You become pretty big and like, you know, in this space, you become an expert in the ways of cryptocurrencies. You would not ever want to work for the SEC and or help them. And nonetheless, like anyone else looking at the cryptocurrency space, why would you want to work for the SEC like anyone else? Like, why would you even think of like, I'm pretty sure there's so many other jobs. You could literally, and probably many other aspects, especially if you are an expert in this way, you could probably work for Google. You could get a job at Apple. You could get a job at Ripple. You could get a job maybe working for Polygon, working with a Vitalik Buterin. You'd have a more free and open job as opposed to being locked into a job with the US SEC that nobody likes. So the question is, will they be able to hire other people? I'm pretty sure they're very desperate. But not that I don't think that anyone's going to actually like work for them. It's more of a, you kind of did this to yourself kind of thing. You made sure that you made no friends on the playground, and now you need someone to help you and protect you. But you've been kicking dirt in people's eyes for the number of years, so of course no one's gonna. And then you want them to sell their crypto. That I think is the craziest part for me. It's one thing to be like, okay, cool, like where do I sit? Okay, fine, I need a job. But you want me to be the pizza guy? You want me to get rid of my cryptocurrencies that might do a 20, 30, 40, 50x during the next bull run, to have a seat next to Gary Gensler? I love this news. I think it's absolutely fantastic just because of the current situation that the SEC has put them in. Like the dramatic amount of like sliminess that we've seen from them is, is showing its true face. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. I do sincerely hope that you all are having or have had a great day. Great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Constantly good news. I mean, except for like the PayPal thing. You know, PayPal, one, it's PayPal, and two, also like it's a stable coin. So I would heavily assume that none of you are holding massive amounts of stable coins. I had someone ask me that a couple of months ago on Twitter. They were like, TMI, what stable coins are you holding? And I'm like, what? Why? Are there people who are like investing in stable coins? You know, they don't move, right? You know, like they just kind of stay the same value all the time. I hold no stable coins. Like they are the farthest thing from my portfolio. Like it's not even remotely close. No, I hold no stable coins. Why in the world would I? Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.